Hello everyone, this is Yamin and welcome to Laravel Bottle Management System project tutorial. So in the previous tutorial, we show the room details in a different base. So in this tutorial, what we are going to do is that we are going to have some input field over here like name, email, phone number, the arrival date, in date and the submit button so that the user can book the hotel room online. So for it, first of all, we need to make some input field and we'll make the input field beside our room details. So over here, we'll make our input field. So for it, let's go back to our code. And here you can see div class row. And inside this div class row, we have class column_d8. And this div class column_d8 indent, let me check, it indent over here. It indent over here in this div. So this div class row indent, it indent over here. So after this div, we are going to write another div, and here we are going to say class, it will be column_d4. So this is column_d8 and this is column_d4. So inside this div, we are going to mention another div, and here another div, and here we'll say level. Level will be, let's say, name. For this level, we need an input field. So input field will be, we'll say here input type will be text and name will be name. So let me just copy this input field and we'll have name, email, phone, start date and end date. So we'll paste it 5 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this one will be email. We'll say email, type will be email and name will be email. And this one will be phone number. So let me just select here and here and we'll say here phone. Let's have this be smaller and type will be number. And this will be the start date and end date. So we'll say here start date. Then we'll say here end date. It means the arrival date and the leaving date. So for this, the type will be date. And here you can see name. Name will be start date. We'll write it like this: start, D will be capital date. And this will be date as well, type will be date and name will be end date. End date. So for this start date and end date, we are going to mention an ID as well. So let's say here ID will be start date. Let me just copy it and paste it here. So for end date, we'll also do the same. We'll just copy it and paste it here. And this last one will be the submit button. So input type, it will be submit, and here let's mention a value. Value will be book room. And let's also mention a bootstrap class. So we say here class, it will be btn, btn primary. Save it. Then let's just refresh here. And there you can see you have the name, email, phone, start date and end date over here like this. So here you can see name, email, phone number, start date, end date and the book room button. So the input field is okay, but here you can see the start date and you can see any previous date over here. If you want, you can like choose the 2019, which is a past date. So we do not want the user being able to select any past date or previous date. So in order to stop the user from giving any previous date, we need to write some JavaScript. So let's go back to our code, and here we mentioned start date and end date. So using the ID, we will make the user only being able to give the present date or any future date. So let's go down, and at the end of the body, we are going to write over here script. And inside this script, we need to write some JavaScript code. So I already write those JavaScript code and the code is around 10 lines. So I'll just copy this code and paste it over here. And I will also give this code in the first comment so that you can also just copy and paste in your code as well. So let me just explain the code. Don't worry, I will explain it. So here, first of all, var td today. So we are just declaring a variable equal to new date. So it will get our current date. After it, what we are doing is that we are getting the current month, date, and the year. Here you can see the TT today, get month, get date, and get full year. So we are getting the full month and storing it in the month variable, then getting the date, storing it in the day variable, and getting the year and storing it in the year variable. Then we are giving a if condition for the month, then for the day, and here we are declaring another variable, max date. After that, we are saying $has start date, and this start date is this ID start date. So the start date will be minimum this max date. It means the current date, and the indent will be the same thing, minimum max date, which means the current date, and indent this is basically this ID that we just mentioned over here. So don't worry, I will just give this if code in the first comment, just check it out. So after it, we'll just save it, and then if we just refresh over here, and here if we now click on the start date, there you can see we won't be able to choose any previous date. There you can see there is no 2023 or 22 any other date. There is only current date and the future date. So we can only choose the current date for the both start date and end date. So we are able to make the user. So we have name, email, phone, start date, and end date field. So let me just add some design over here. Let's just say over here book row, and also let's just fix the design for the input field as well. So let's go back, and here inside the column before, we're going to say here h1 tag, and we're going to say book room. Let's just say here style, it will be, let's say font size, it will be 40 px, import it, save it, then refresh. There you can see book room. We can add few more design, but we'll stop over here. We'll just make some design for the level and the input field. So for it, let's go back, and let's get the top, and here inside the head section, we're going to mention the style tag. Then inside the style, we are going to say level, then to second bracket, we are going to say here display, it will be inline block, then width, let's say 200 px, and let's also do one more thing. Let's also write the CSS for the input field. So we'll say here input, and we'll give to second bracket, and we are going to say here width, it will be 100%. Let's save it. Let's just refresh, and there you go. Okay, let's just make some space for the book room. Let's go and let's just say for the book room, let's just add a style over here for the div. We're going to say padding top, it will be 20 px. Refresh here. Okay, there you go. So right now we have the name, email, phone, start date, and end date input field. So right now what we need to do is we need to create the table so that user can book the room and the data will be stored in the database table. So let's go back to our project, and let's open another command prompt over here. We say here cmd, and let me just zoom in. So here let's go and create a table. So we're going to say here php artisan make clone model. The table name will be booking, and we'll say here -m. So it will create a model called booking, and it will also create a migration for the booking table. So let me just press enter. So there you can see a model and migration is created. So let's go back to our code, and right now if we go to our app, then models, here you can see bookings.php, and if we go to our database, then migration, you will see bookings table over here. So in this booking table, we are going to write a few line of column. So let's say here dollar table, this arrow sign. So we get all the name, email, phone, start date and end date, and we also get the room ID that the user or the customer want to book. So we also need to get the room ID. So here we are going to say string to first bracket single quotation, we'll say here room underscore ID. Let's just make it nullable because we're going to test a few things. That's why. So let me just copy this and paste it 5 times on 2, 3, 4 and 5. So after room ID, we'll have the name, the username, then it will be email, this will be password, not password, this will be phone, then this will be start date, let's say start underscore date, and this will be end date, let's say end underscore date. So those are all the fields that we need. So let's just save it and let's go back to our command prompt, and we're going to say here PHP artisan migrate. Press enter, and there you can see a table is migrated. So right now, if we just go to our XAMPP and if we now just refresh here, there you can see we have one more table called bookings, and here you can see room ID, name, email, phone, start date and end date. So right now let's go and store those value in our booking table, and also we'll make the user choose a date which is higher than the start date. It means if the user choose date, let's say 22, the end date cannot be 22. It needs to be at least 23 or 24, 25, any other date, but cannot be 22. Okay. So let's go back to our code. So we can just close this table, and let me just go to the bookings.php in the model. So we'll go to app models and then bookings.php. So we are going to copy some code. Let me just copy it from here, protected fillable, and we'll paste it over here. So it will be, we'll say here room ID. We'll also have name. In the database table, we have name, email, phone. Then we have start date and end date, end underscore date. So we'll mention this in our table model. So after it, we can just close this. So right now, let's get the top. And here you can see column D4, and we have the name, email, phone number, start date, end date, and the submit button. So we need to have those inside a form in order to upload those. So here we're going to mention a form. We'll say form will open up, start over here, and this form will end after the submit button. It will end over here. So inside the form, we are going to say action, then we say here method. So method will be post, and we also need to add at the end of CSRF token, and in the action, we'll give to second bracket, then we'll say here URL to first bracket to single quotation. Let's just mention a name. Let's say here add underscore booking. Let's just save it here. So right now we need to create this route. So let's go to our web.php, and let me just copy this, Ctrl C and Ctrl V. So the route will be post, and we'll use home controller, and our URL name is add underscore booking. So let me copy it and we'll paste it over here, and the function name will be room underscore booking. So let me just show you. So here in the table we have room underscore ID. So we need to get the room ID. So for it, here in this page we are already showing the room details. we are showing the room name, description, and price, everything else. So we'll be able to get the room ID as well over here. Let me just go in it at the top. So here you can see we are showing the room ID like this: $room, room title, $room description, $room Wi-Fi. In the previous tutorial, I already showed you how you can do it. So using this $room, we are able to get the room title, room description, right? So we will be able to get the room ID as well. So what we'll do is that here in this URL, we'll just keep a comma over here and we'll say here $room, this arrow sign ID. Okay, so we will also be able to get the room ID using this $room, because we already have $room in this plate file, which we use to get the room title description. So we should be able to get the room ID over here. So right now, okay, let me just show you. So right now, if we just refresh, here you can see the room ID for this room is 8. So if we now click on book room, here you can see it is calling the add booking row with the ID 8. So we will also get this ID in the web.php, and we already have 2 bracket ID over here. So right now, let's go to our home controller and create a function called add_booking. So let's go to our home controller, and over here, we're going to say public function, and the function name is add_booking. So we'll say here add_booking to first bracket, and this is a post request. You can see this is a post request since we are also sending the name email from here. So we need to say here request, $request, then this comma, and we are also sending the ID from here. So we'll also mention about here $ID like this. So after it, we'll give to second bracket. So first of all, in order to upload the data in the booking table, we need to mention the booking model name at the top. So let me just copy this and paste it here. We're going to say here use app /models / it will be booking like this. So let's go down, and inside this function, let's go and declare a variable. Let's say it will be $data equal to, we're going to say here new booking. After it, we're going to say $data, this arrow sign, we'll say room_ID equal to, okay, let me just show you. Let me just go to the database table. Over here, you can see we have room_ID for the booking table. Here you can see room_ID. So we are just saying over here room_ID, and the ID will be this one, this $ID. So we can just directly mention here $ID. Okay. So after this, we say $data, this arrow sign will get the username that is trying to book the room. So we say $data name equal to $request, this arrow sign, and here in the room details, we say name equal to name equal to for email, name equal to email, for phone, name equal to phone. So here we're going to say name. After it, okay, let me just copy this, Ctrl+C, then Ctrl+P, and Ctrl+V. So this will be email. So let me just say here email, then this will be phone. So after this, we have start date and end date. So here in the database, we write over here start_date like this. Okay, let me just check again. In the database, we write start_date like this, but so this start date will come from the database table. And here you can see, so let me just go to that room_details, and here you can see we write name equal to start date like this over here. So we'll write it over here like this, and let me just say over here it will be end_date, and this will be indent. Copy and we'll just paste it over here. So after that, we'll just say here $data, this arrow sign, save to first bracket. Then after saving the data, we'll return the user to the same page. So we'll say here return, redirect, this arrow sign, back. So save it and let me just go back. Then let's just go back over here, refresh. And right now, let's just keep the name. Let's say name will be user, or let's say name will be Yamin. Email will be yamin@gmail.com. Let's give a number. Let's choose a date over here. Start date, then end date. And if I now click on book room, here you can see it's reloading and data is submitted. So right now, if we just refresh our bookings table, there you can see name, email, phone, start date, and end date. So now there is one more issue is that the user can choose the same date over here, but we do not want the user being able to submit the data giving the same date. So for it, we are going to use a validation route. So let's go back to our code, and here in the add bookings, here we're just going to say $request, this arrow sign, it will be validate to first bracket, then to third bracket, we'll write it like this. And here we're going to say to single quotation, we're going to mention the variable name, which is end date and start date. So let's just do the start date first, copy it and paste it here. We're going to say equal, it will be required this sign, and we'll say here date. So it needs to be a date, and we need to keep this inside a single quotation, and also we need to give this is greater than sign. So after this, we are going to give again to single quotation. We say here int date equal to is greater than. This will come from this two will come from here. Okay. So this time we'll say here date first, then this sign, and we're going to say after single quotation, after start date. So what this means is that first of all, it will get the date is required, and after that, if the end date value is smaller than the start date or equal to the start date, then it will give us an error message that end date cannot be smaller than the start date, something like this. Okay, so in order to catch this error message in the blade file, we need to write some code, a few line of code. So after this h1 tag, let me just mention a if condition. We say here at the end of if to first bracket, if there is any errors, so we in the if condition like this at the end of int if, and after it we are going to say here at the end of for each to first bracket $errors, this arrow sign all, will get all the error, and we'll say here as $errors, and we also need to in the for each loop as well. So we say here at the end of int for each. So after it, we'll just show the error. So we'll show the error inside the li tag. So we'll say here li, then we'll give to second bracket, then we'll say here $errors like this. And here it will be also $errors. So let me just explain what will happen is that if there is any issue in the validation role, then it will automatically go to this at the end of error function, I mean the error condition, and show us the error. So using this $error, we'll be able to show all the validation error messages. So let me just save it and let's go back. Let's just refresh here. And right now, if we just choose the same date, 2022, here you can see we choose the same date, and if we now click on the book room button, it refreshed, and here you can see it gives us an error message that the end date must be a date after start date. So let's just make it more like a error message. So here we'll say the style, we'll say here color, it will be red. Save it, then refresh again, and we also make the date required over here. So right now, if we just click on book room, here gets the date field is required, the end date must be a valid date. Okay, so we are able to show the user a proper error message, and the user only give any past date or current date in the end date. Okay, so let's just try to upload another data. Let's set here test at the rate of gmail.com. Let's give a phone number, let's give a start date, then let's choose the end date here, and let's click on book room. Here you can see it reloaded, and if we now just refresh our booking table, there you can see there is onboard data over here. So right now, here you can see we are currently not logged in. So right now, if we logged in, what we need is that it will automatically give the name, email, and phone number field. So right now, let me just log in over here. Let's say over here, user at the rate of gmail.com. Let's give the password. Click login. And let's go back to the room details section. And here you can see that we are currently logged in, but we are unable to see the name, email, and phone number because we did not write any code over here for the logged in user. So let's go back and let's go to our room details.plate.php, and here you can see we have the name input field. So here we are going to say hello, and inside this value we'll give to second bracket, then we'll say here auth double clone user, which is our table name, this arrow sign, we'll say here name. So right now if we send it, then if we now refresh here, undefined constant auth user. Okay, we need to give to first bracket over here. We'll give to first bracket over here like this. Save it again and let's refresh. And there you go. In the name field, we are able to get the username, logged in username. So the same way we'll be able to get the email and phone number. So let's do the same thing. But before that, right now, if we just logged out from here, we get an error in this page for a logged in user. Let me just do it. If I now click log out, then if we now again click on this room details button, here you can see attempt to read property name on null, because when the user is not logged in, it means this line will give us an error. So for it, what we need to is we need to give a if condition over here. So we'll just write it like this. So here we're going to say at the rate of if to first bracket, then we say here auth double clone ID. So if there is any logged in user, there will be auth ID. Alright, so we'll just write it like this. And we also need to, in the if condition, we say here at the rate of int if. So if there is a logged in user, only then it will come over here. Otherwise, it will not come over here. So we won't be able to, or it will not show us any error. So let's just save it. And right now, if we just refresh, there you can see the name field is empty right now for the user who is not logged in. But if we now log in, let's say here user, let's give a password, click login. Let's go down and let's click on room details. And there you can see we're able to see the logged in username. So the same way, let's do the same thing for the email and pass phone number field. So let's go back and let me just copy this if condition, Control C, and we paste it for the email. Let's just paste it here, and instead of name here, we're going to say email. And for phone number, we'll do the same thing. We'll just say here, instead of name, it will be phone. Save it here. Then let's refresh. And there you go. So when the user is logged in, it will automatically get the name, email, and the phone number. So right now we'll keep the starting date. So let's give a date over here. Let's choose a different month. Let's say February. day 1 and in date will be February day 29. So right now if we click on book room, there you can see it refreshing, and if we just refresh our database table right now, there you can see a onboard data with the room ID, name, email and phone number, start date and end date. So we are able to successfully upload the or book the rooms, and here you can see we are unable to see the button because it can't fit with the CSS of Laravel, but we'll fix it in the next tutorial. And in the next tutorial, what we're going to do is that when the user book the room, we'll show a success message over here. So in the next tutorial, we'll show you how to show success message in Laravel. So this is all for this tutorial. If you have any question or any confusion, just let me know in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the future tutorials.